Well, joining me now is Milo Comerford, the Director of Policy and Research for Counter-Extremism at the Institute for Strategic Dialogue. It's good to have you. I just want, for the benefit of our international viewers, for you just to explain what is happening here in the UK from your perspective.
Of course, Becky. So almost exactly a week ago, there was a terrible stabbing in the town of Southport in northwest England, where a 17-year-old murdered 3 young girls and injured many more. Because of reporting restrictions in the UK, there was very little information about the individual who carried out this attack, leading to a huge online vacuum of information, which was filled, as you mentioned, with mis and disinformation about the attacker's identity, claims that this was a Muslim who was on a security watch list, that they were an illegal immigrant, facts that have been since disproven. But this was really seized upon by those who were looking to spread an anti-migrant, anti-Muslim agenda, and this has bubbled out into real-world violence up and down the UK over the past week.
And it's horrendous to see it. We've just heard from the Prime Minister, who chaired an emergency, what's known as Cobra meeting today. Let's just hear from him.
We'll ramp up criminal justice. There have already been hundreds of arrests. Some have appeared in court this morning. I've asked for early consideration of the earliest naming and identification of those involved in the process, who will feel the full force of the law. And thirdly, I've been absolutely clear that the criminal law applies online as well as offline, and I'm assured that that's the approach that is being taken.
Yeah, this dissemination of mis and disinformation is awful, and clearly the Prime Minister acknowledging that something that will be dealt with. What is going on online will be dealt with as they deal with what is happening physically, and we're looking at some of the images from over the weekend. Do you think what we've heard from Keir Starmer, the new Prime Minister, and let's remember, he's only been in position for a month, do you think that will be enough to calm things down?
I think at the moment we're at a very raw point in the cycle. Unfortunately, we're seeing this ongoing violence, which has really proliferated over the course of several days. I think to some extent there will be a backward look at what could have been done better, how policing might have been more proactive, how social media companies might have been able to get ahead of this by curbing the spread of viral disinformation on their platforms. But for the time being, I think that there will be short-term efforts to really seek to bring those to account who've been violently targeting Muslims and migrants. But I think there will be a broader soul-searching that follows to really understand how we can address the root causes of this violence that has swept the country.
The new Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, had this to say, quote, "Make no mistake, there will be a reckoning for the individuals who took part in this violence, those who whipped them up on social media and in online chat forums, and those who have felt emboldened by this moment to stir up racial hatred." She is clearly attributing a lot of what's happened here to online far-right hate. Again, for the benefit of our viewers who may not be across what is going on here in the UK, is that your assessment as well?
I think there is an organised far-right movement at the heart of driving much of this hate and violence. Of course, as with any protest, you have a broad group of people who engage, and opportunists and those looking to hang on to the coattails of this kind of violence existing. But certainly the nature of far-right extremism in the UK is a very decentralised, sort of online organised phenomena, where we see these huge sprawling Telegram channels being used to organise offline violence. You see the spread of viral content on TikTok, and you see on X the proliferation of this sort of disinformation, which has led to direct violence. So I really do think that in many ways this is an example and a case study of the sort of narrow jump between this kind of information threat online and real world violence.
This has been a week's worth of violence now since the awful tragedy in Southport a week or so ago, the loss of 3 young girls at a Taylor Swift-themed sort of yoga party, as it were. Do you expect to see this continue at this point?
I think we have to wait and see. Unfortunately, there is still agitation and mobilization happening in these online spaces, and there still seems to be a large degree of enthusiasm from those driving this violence to sort of continue the momentum of the past few days. Police assure that they are in a position to be able to confront these violent protesters and rioters. But really, I think, getting a handle on this will be of absolute critical importance to the government before we start to look more broadly at how we address the root causes of these issues.
Good to have you. Thank you very much indeed.